Good evening, listeners. You're listening to Echo FM. I'm Sela.
I'm Avon.
Tonight, we're looking at the weight of new beginnings. Often, we define our lives by the thresholds we cross, finding a new home, changing a job, or stepping into a new phase of fatherhood.
But as we move forward, we often carry the echoes of who we were when we were struggling, or the ghost stories of the places we've left behind. Tonight's letters are for the truths we haven't quite found the right person to tell.
Sometimes, a space of one's own is all the foundation required to start over. It is a quiet, monumental shift. I just need to tell somebody because I'm really excited. Me and my 2 kids finally have our own place after living with family for 8 years. It's a small townhouse, 2 bedrooms, and 1 bathroom. I was thinking maybe I could sleep in the living room so both kids could have their own rooms, but for now they can share until I can afford somewhere bigger. My daughter already picked the big closet with the bench as her little space away from her brother, haha. I became a single mom when they were both really young. After that, I was taking care of my grandma until she passed. And then I was helping take care of my mom. My mom is doing better now and doesn't need me there all the time anymore, so I can finally move out. The place isn't anything special, and the toilet is weirdly short, but I don't even care. It's in my budget. There's somewhere safe outside for the kids to play, and it's ours. We barely have anything besides clothes and beds, so I'm trying to find free furniture and whatever else people are giving away. I'm just really happy. It finally feels like things might be getting better. That toilet might be a little lower to the ground than you're used to, but I'd bet it feels like a throne compared to the years you spent making yourself small for everyone else. 8 years of being the person who catches everyone else as they fall, tending to your grandmother, your mother, and your children. That doesn't just take time. It takes a piece of your own internal map. You've been living in the currents of other people's needs for so long that it's easy to forget what it feels like to set your own floorboards down. When you mention your daughter claiming that closet bench, I don't just hear about a piece of furniture. I hear about the first time she's been able to carve out a boundary that's entirely her own. That's not a small thing. That's the work of a mother who has been fighting to build something stable, even when the walls weren't hers. You've spent nearly a decade waiting for your own life to start. And now, finally, the house is quiet enough to hear your own thoughts. Don't be in too much of a hurry to fill up those rooms. When you've been living out of bags or under someone else's roof for that long, the urge to decorate, to paint, to pack every corner can feel like an emergency. But there's a real, quiet power in the emptiness right now. Take the time to sit on those beds and listen to the way the air moves differently when you're the one holding the keys. You've spent years tending to others, and now you're tending to this little townhouse. For the first time, the something special isn't the square footage or the appliances. It's the fact that you can close your own front door at the end of the day. And for the first time in a very long time, you don't owe anybody anything. Just breathe in that quiet for a minute. You've earned the right to finally exhale. For the first time in nearly a decade, the only person you have to take care of is yourself. And that space you've carved out is already beginning to hold you. This is for that quiet, hard-earned feeling of home.
For years I kept a part of me packed up, even after every box was gone. Now the key turns gently in my hand, and evening light falls through the hall. I stand still inside the doorway and listen as the rooms grow calm. I can set it down now, leave the old weight by the door. I can set it down now, I don't have to carry it anymore. My girl finds a corner by the window, a quiet place to call her own. We leave the boxes where we dropped them. We have all the time we need. Moonlight settles on the floorboards. We can leave the day undone. I can set it down now, let the whole room fill with air. I can set it down now, there is room for quiet here. I don't have to keep things steady. I don't have to know what's next. I can let my hands fall open. I can finally let them rest. I can set it down now, nothing pulling at my sleeve. I can set it down now, this is ours and we can breathe. I can set it down now and listen to the quiet. Listen to the quiet. We're home.
Moving into a new home is one way to settle a life, but sometimes we carry the clutter of who we think we should be into every room we enter. I'm writing because I almost lied to my mother-in-law about my salary, and I can't decide whether the bigger problem is the number or what I do whenever I'm ashamed of it. We were at her house Sunday when she asked the most I'd ever made in a year. I said $39,400, the real number. She said, "In Phoenix?" and laughed once, not in a mean way exactly, but she looked at my wife. Then she said we'd never get a house on that. Driving home, I kept thinking I should have said $52,000. No idea why. It just sounds like a normal adult salary. I even made up details in my head in case she asked more. Bonuses. Last year being better. None of it true. My title is Product Content Assistant. Mostly, I resize supplier photos, rename files, fix bullet points, enter dimensions in Shopify, and chase missing UPC codes. Tuesdays, I update the returns sheet. If customer service is behind, I copy tracking numbers into emails. I make less than 20 an hour. I'm not about to get promoted. My wife keeps telling me to apply for something better. I have applied. Not nearly as much as she thinks. A posting asks for analytics or project management, and I close it because I don't have either. Sometimes I change one line on my resume for 40 minutes and don't submit it. When she asks how it's going, I say, "Still working on it." Wanting a house isn't unreasonable, and I don't expect my wife to pretend my pay is enough. But how do I tell her I've been avoiding applications without turning it into another problem she has to solve? And how long can you ask your wife to trust you when you don't have a plan with an actual date on it? That $52,000 figure you carried home in your head isn't really about the money, is it? It's a phantom salary, a way to dress yourself in the clothes of a normal adult so that a glance from your mother-in-law doesn't leave you feeling like an imposter in your own life. You're caught in a cycle where you're working harder at appearing to be a job seeker than you are at actually searching. Those 40 minutes spent hovering over a single line on your resume, that's not preparation. That's a barricade you're building to keep out the sting of a potential rejection. If you never hit send, you never have to face the vulnerability of putting your work into the world and being told it isn't enough for the roles you want. The reason you haven't told your wife isn't because you want to protect her from the problem. It's because you don't want to be the problem. You don't want to be the version of yourself that's stagnant, the one who can't hold up his end of the mortgage dream. But your wife is already living in the house of maybe. She's guessing. When you tell her you're working on it, she's holding her breath waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that silence is corrosive. She would rather have the truth of your stuckness than the fiction of your progress. You don't need to turn her into your career coach or force her to solve your professional existence. You just need to stop letting her think you're in a race that you aren't actually running. The weight of the lie is what's exhausting you, far more than the work of renaming files or chasing UPC codes. Take the polish off the resume. Stop the frantic editing. Find one posting, even one you aren't sure you're qualified for, and send the resume exactly as it sits, typos and all. Send it tonight. You will survive the rejection, or the silence, much better than you are surviving this slow-motion paralysis. Give your wife the dignity of knowing where you are, and give yourself the mercy of actually showing up to the fight.
It's a heavy cycle, Avon. The shame of being stuck feels like a secret that's keeping the future hostage. But I wonder if the wife is more afraid of the truth or of the silence.
And sometimes that pressure to perform, to be a certain thing, comes from a past that refuses to stay buried. My former PhD advisor recently contacted me about data from projects I worked on years ago. He wrote that the school was viewing the situation as a data breach, and that if the data were returned, perhaps it would not be pursued further. That word, returned, made me furious. Return what? I do not have the data. And why return as though I had stolen it, hidden it, or deliberately refused to give it back? During my PhD, students were not provided computers for data analysis. I and other students had to copy working files from the lab's testing computers onto personal laptops for data analyses. The testing machines are the ones containing the original copies. When I graduated, nobody conducted a data handoff. Nobody told me what to transfer, retain, or delete. I left academia for good upon graduation and replaced several laptops for the past years. The working copies disappeared through cycles of factory resets and trade-ins. What makes the accusation feel even more ridiculous is that I had already watched the same thing happen to another student. In 2020, he asked me to revive an older project from his previous student. The lab could not locate the code on its own testing computers, so I was told to contact the former student. She searched, but eventually told me over Zoom that she could not find the data. The project stopped. At the time, I accepted this as normal. Now, I have become her, the former student being searched for years later because the lab cannot find its own files. I know my advisor did not literally write, "You stole the data," but "return it" placed the blame on me before anyone had established what happened. It turned an institutional failure to preserve research into my supposed failure to safeguard it forever. This just dragged me back to my traumatic PhD experience, and I am so tired of feeling that I must defend myself against him. That word return is a hell of a thing to throw at someone who has spent years building a life outside those lab walls. It is designed to make you feel like a thief when you are actually just a person whose old laptop has long since gone to a recycling center. He isn't asking for data. He is asking for a scapegoat for his own administrative negligence. You remember that other student, the one on the Zoom call. You saw the pattern then. even if you didn't have the language for it. He knows exactly how the lab functioned, or failed to function. By choosing that specific word, he is trying to shift the burden of his own oversight onto your conscience. Don't let him rewrite your history by making you treat this like a negotiation. You do not have the data. That is not a failure of character. It is the natural consequence of a decade-old workflow that was never your responsibility to maintain. If you feel you must reply, keep it as thin and boring as a receipt. You don't owe him an audit of your hard drive history. You don't owe him a defense, and you certainly don't owe him the emotional labor of explaining why you aren't the villain in his story. Something like, "I do not have access to any files from my time in the lab, and I have no further information to provide regarding institutional data storage," is enough. Every paragraph you write explaining why he shouldn't blame you is just an invitation for him to keep the conversation going. You left that world for a reason. Don't let a panicked, poorly worded email bring the architecture of that exhaustion back into your living room. The data is gone because it was never properly archived, and that, by any objective measure, is not your problem to fix. Close the laptop, walk away, and leave the blame where it belongs, in the lab that lost its own work. The past has a way of knocking when you least expect it, especially when it's someone else's mess they're trying to pin on you. This is for the relief of finally letting the blame fall where it actually belongs.
A message cuts into the dark. My name glows cold against the glass. You ask me for what disappeared, as if I chose what couldn't last. You keep calling through the silence for an answer that isn't there. It was gone long before you ever turned your eyes to me. Nothing hidden, nothing held back, no signal buried in the static. You listen to the empty channel and call the silence proof. You make a shape from what is missing. Give it my name, give it my face. You need a body for the blame. Something solid you can point to, something living you can use. I will not become your answer.
Moving forward, we are also forced to reckon with the things we've left behind and the people we used to be. I have a 14-year-old son and a 9-month-old daughter. I love my wife and daughter, and my son loves being a big brother. We're a happy family, but sometimes I miss when it was just me and him. I became a single dad at 19. His mom didn't want to raise a child, and my religious parents kicked me out when they found out about the pregnancy. I got a cheap 1-bedroom apartment and raised him there for 7 years. He had the bedroom, and I slept on a pull-out couch. Money was really tight. I worked from home because I couldn't afford daycare, bought almost everything secondhand, and sometimes skipped dinner before payday. But we still had good times. We watched superhero movies on the couch, went to the beach, and talked about our day over dinner. Eventually, a business I started took off. I bought a house, started dating again, met my wife, and now we have our daughter. Life is much easier, and I wouldn't want to go back to struggling. I just miss those little moments when it was only me and my son. He was my whole world for a long time, and sometimes it's hard knowing that part of our life is over. There's a specific kind of silence in a 1-bedroom apartment when you're 19, the dishes are done, and you're listening to your son breathe from the other side of a pull-out couch. You aren't just missing the struggle. You're mourning the version of yourself that didn't need anyone else to prove his worth. You earned every single thing you have now, but in that old life, your identity was forged in a fire that only the two of you could see. That intensity, it isn't replaceable, and it shouldn't be. When you're in the thick of it, skipping meals, counting quarters, playing the roles of both parents before the sun even hits the window, the bond isn't just love, it's a secret language. It's the feeling that you are the only two people on the planet. Now, the house is big enough for everyone to have their own space, and the pressure has eased. But that space is also the thing standing between you and the proximity you once knew. You're navigating a natural grief, not just for the past, but for the end of a very specific, solitary guardianship. Don't try to replicate that dynamic, or force a return to the struggle just to feel that closeness again. It's okay to let that chapter be exactly what it was, a heroic, private act of survival. Your son is 14 now. He doesn't need a roommate in a small apartment. He needs a father who knows exactly how capable he is. If you find yourself missing that us against the world frequency, stop trying to find it in the new house. Instead, take him out, just the two of you, for something that has nothing to do with being a provider or a parent. Go to a movie, grab a late burger, or drive somewhere for no reason. Don't talk about the old days or how much he's grown. Just exist in the same space as him, without the baby, without the business, without the history. You aren't losing that bond. You're just shifting it from a rescue mission into something that can finally handle the daylight.
It is a strange grief, Sila, mourning the struggle that forged the bond. It makes sense that he misses that intensity. That was his foundation.
We've heard tonight that new beginnings aren't just about what we gain, but about the honesty we bring into those spaces. Whether it's the quiet of a new apartment or finally closing a chapter on old institutional battles, there is a certain resilience in just naming where we are.
The weight of the past doesn't just disappear, but like we saw with our letters tonight, it can be carried differently once we finally put it into words. Thank you for listening to Echo FM. I'm Avon.
And I'm Sila. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify, and we invite you to send your own letters to us at echofm.live. Thanks for being here with us tonight.